this time, I'll call the Hampton County Council meeting, August 19th, 2024, at 6 p.m. meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone, our citizens here, and attending our monthly meeting. At this time, as we look at the agenda, we're on item number 2. I ask that our invocation be done by myself, as well as item number 2.2, the Pledge of Allegiance, by Councilman Williams, with the audience participation. So if everyone would please stand. Let's bow our heads. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you as we always do, to say thank you for allowing us to see this beautiful day that you have bestowed upon us. And Heavenly Father, as we come to this meeting to look at the needs and concerns of Hampton County, please give us the wisdom to go about doing things that will make this county a better county than what it is. In your Son Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. You join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, we are on item number 3, the approval of the agenda for Hampton County Council, August 19th, 2024 meeting. Before we do the approval of the agenda, I just want to make one notation to council. If you look at on your agenda, item 13, administrative report. I've been asked that 13.1 financial report be moved to 13.3, and 13.3 emergency management degree on property storm David be moved up to 13.1. And this is the administrative report. That's all I have as to the change to the agenda. Anyone else have any changes, move any changes, or deletion or anything of that nature? With that being said, what is the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve and accept August 19th minutes, agenda meeting minutes with the proper changes.
A motion has been made. What is there a second?
I second.
It has been properly second. Any further discussion? If not, all those who are approved of the Hampton County Council August 19th, 2024 meeting agenda, show it by raising the right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? We're now on item number 4, approval of minutes. We have 2 meeting minutes that we need approval. The one for July 15th, County Council meeting, and the one for August 12th, 2024 Council special meeting. And we would do this separately. I've had a chance to look at the meeting on the minutes. I hope everyone had a chance to look at it. Are there any corrections to any of those minutes that need to be made at this time? If not, what is the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of July the 15th, 2024, County Council meeting.
A motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Has been properly second. Any further discussion? If not, all those who are in approval of the meeting minutes of July 15th, 2024 County Council meeting, show your approval by raising your hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? We're now on item number 4.2 under approval of minutes. What is the pleasure of council?
Chairman, I move to accept the meeting minutes listed in line item 4.2. the minutes from the August 12th, 2024 county special meeting.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Any further discussion? If none, all those who are in approval of the meeting minutes of the August 12th, 2024 County Council special meeting, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? We're now down to item 5 on the agenda, presentations. 5.1, Martin Carsey.
Good evening, Council.
Evening.
Please forgive me because this is not something that I normally do. So back in October of '22, I was hired as temporary office assistant in the building department. I was brought on full-time after a year and have learned the ins and outs of the department. In September of 2023, I was introduced to Chris. He asked me about helping with the planning commission, and I learned a whole new set of skills. These skills included learning how to plan, how to take minutes, when to post to the county website, what information can and cannot be public, and how to draft legal ads. In April of this year, I was approached by LeVar and Chris about becoming the interim clerk to council. I was a little hesitant at first, but I was encouraged by LeVar to take on the position. I learned that a lot of what I would be doing was very similar to what I was already doing for the planning commission. I quickly became overwhelmed, but I was able to push through and made changes so the next person didn't feel the way that I did. It was my goal to set the new clerk to council up for success. In this, throughout the county so far, we have been hearing a lot about transparency. With this, I have been able to create the agendas and the backup materials and get everything posted on the county website before every Friday before the meeting. And every Wednesday before the meetings, I would be scheduling appointments with the chairman, the county administrator, and to make sure that we could actually review and finalize the agendas. I've also been notifying the media by sending the link to the county website and posting the agendas on the building. We've also been talking a lot about organization. Each meeting, you've noticed that there have been binders for every single member. You've also kind of seen that we have been able to organize all of the ordinances. With this, I've been able to use Adobe to create PDFs of the agendas and the backup materials, so I have copies of everything. I've been able to make a schedule for posting legal ads, and I've been making updates to the LDO as needed. My other duties are not just to the building department and to the clerk to council position, though. I've also started picking up some stuff for the public works, like the pool cars and typing some of their minute meetings. I know that I'm probably one of the only people in this community that can say that I am proud and I am so honored to have been able to help out with everything that I have been able to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Alderman.
I just want to say publicly, I want to thank her for all the hard work she's done. We got to identify excellence when we see it, right? She's done
Absolutely.
an exceptional job in a very difficult time in organizing us and keeping us on track. And I just want to say thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Marley.
Thank you. And I just want to say, on behalf of council, we really appreciate all you have done in our need of an interim clerk of council. And I know that you have been training our clerk of council to do this so that she can get familiar with it. I think this is your fourth week, starting your fourth week in this position. So with Molly there to give you assistance, get you comfortable in there. I appreciate Molly, all that you have done, and I'm sure that this board appreciates it too. I do. Again, thank you very much. At this time, we're on item number 5.2, voter registration regarding Cummings and Early Branch Precinct.
Good evening, everybody.
Evening.
Good evening.
We're here as the Board of Registration and Election, and you guys have seen us here more than once. We are here again about the same situation that we have in Cummings and Early Branch. That building is so hot. People are getting sick, and it's just hard to get people to work. We have been to the county council and asked for help to find a building for us for the early branch and Cummins precinct for voting. Y'all haven't done anything yet. When are y'all gonna do something? You can wait till somebody pass out or something happened to someone. It's hard enough now to get people to work, but the ones that willing to work, they gotta sacrifice the heat that is they are taking in all day long. We don't have any fans, we have to bring fans there. And then we also have problems getting in to the building when it's time to vote. The last election we had, we didn't get in there till after 7 because someone didn't open the building. Now, we supposed to be there at 6. The elections start at 7 to 7. So what can you guys do in the Sakani building to help us out? We also came to y'all and let y'all know there was a vacant building over across the road. It was for sale. If we can get that building and use it for an election, and you guys can also use it to rent it out with events that people need to have, and then you will have income coming in also. But we have to do something. We have to run an election, and you guys are ones that going out there being in this for elected officials. So the people put y'all there, please help us. And then we also have working in the office with the young ladies. They do 12 hours and more. We have one lady, is part-time, but she puts in over 40 hours or more, and she only getting $12 an hour. We have run election this year more than we have in the past. Special election, that is not funded by the state, it is funded by the county. So, you guys want to get elected, we ask you all to help us out also. Thank y'all for listening, and I hope y'all take it in. I'm gonna leave one thing with you. My pastor said, I don't know when God's gonna do it, but I know God's gonna do it. So I'm leaving that with y'all.
Could you please stay at the podium, because I think it's going to be addressed by our county administrator. I do want to set the record straight. Council has been doing something about the situation. Every meeting, I know that you have mentioned every meeting, but when I was made aware of your concerns several weeks ago, I made sure that at every council meeting, an update was given on the situation at the Cummins Early Branch precinct.
Okay.
So we talked about the buildings, the building that you made reference to. We have not had a deaf ear to it.
Okay.
Okay, so I just wanted you know, since you put it out in public like that, that council has been doing something and trying to do something. Now, this time I turn it over to our clerk council. I'm sorry.
Could I ask a question real quick? Your next meeting is September 10th, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think that we should make an effort to be at that meeting if we can as well.
Yeah, the last two sessions, we've kind of given you an update, and I want to apologize for the conditions that you got to work in. We contacted the building across the street that wasn't available for usage, so that wasn't an option. We evaluated the building that you're in. It's not a suitable building for upgrades, right? So it's not a true building in a sense. We even contacted DHEC to see what we could do. But we did locate some cooling stations that we have in the county, and they will be at the next election, and I will be there as well. But we have about 3 right now. We also looked at temporary portable construction trailers to pull up. But we are looking at options to mitigate the concern. It's not just your building. We got, you know, we got our maintenance folks working in hot buildings. You know, in my office, I have a T-shirt on until I come out my office. So, you know, AC is a human rights issue right now, so we want to address it as much as we can, but I assure you, we will have cooling stations at the next voting space.
So
Can I
if,
elaborate?
if you all come up with something, please notify our, director, and she can let us pass the information
Yeah,
along.
we reported out the past 2 sessions on similar findings,
Okay,
and sorry you didn't get the updates.
thank you.
I have personally set up a meeting with Bertha's Florist, which has a part of the building that they use for clothing. Mr. Richard Ferguson and I was 70% into the deal of being able to use that part of the building. I then turned it over to the administrator to finalize the deal, and his mother, Miss Bertha, didn't want to do the deal. She didn't want to move her clothing or whatever happened. The other buildings over there, I don't know what buildings for sale, but those buildings, you said they're for sale. It would require a large purchase as well as reconstruction to be suitable. So the temporary fix we thought we had with Bertha's Florist, and that's when Mr. Yeomans took it a step further to see what we can do with the building we had. And I thought I was keeping everyone informed.
And we did get some quotes to address the bathrooms and the other spaces in terms of getting those up to date. So those are other spaces we looked at for those buildings.
Okay, we appreciate your help, and thank y'all for listening.
We
And
trying.
I appreciate you coming before council with concern, because I know we've been at this
For
for a very
years.
long time.
Yes,
Very long time.
Yes.
So, please, if you seem to be moving too slow, still come back and talk to us again.
sure I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now on item number 6, public hearings. At this time, there are none. As we move down the agenda,
Not yet.
Public hearings.
next we're on item number 7, public comments.
The first person that we have is Mr. Ronald Wynn. The speaking topic is lawfare.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Hey.
Lawfare, what is the 25 points that was started here 30 years ago? In 2004, the Southern Shrimpers Alliance filed a lawsuit against foreign competition of seafood, all the southern coast below the Mason-Dixon line. Vietnam and China came in. Simply what the federal people told them is that it's Jacksonism. If you want to enforce it, you enforce it. We are not. The end result was basically the result was the total destruction of the ecosystem in all those states, even down to sardines, crabs, and everything virtually eliminated under the Vietnam flag. Remember when we went down there, you couldn't even walk for a trap. Now, in saying that, they depleted everything deliberately. Libertarianism, big business. Now, the state has decided that they're going to really pass some laws on tightening up on species and all this going on. It's going to be where a fellow gets a 3-inch crab but a $200 fine to feed his family, but there ain't no crabs. So economically, with the Keynesian leadership and virtual destruction of the ecosystem, the state, this is federal now, federal, overseas. There's 16 of these rascals that supersede states' rights. I'm saying this because this is an example of what is terribly going on. From 2004 to 2009, there was laws passed on the federal level to supersede states' rights. It simply said if you were a felon, whether you're guilty or not, you will not have your Medicare, Medicaid, and any associates, and you could not see your family. Is this not true? I know y'all know about this because y'all elected. Now you're building jails down there in 2 counties, $2 million worth. That's going to put more people in. This is federal, this is national. You put more people in that makes fellows out of them, where they can't get no benefits, they can't get established to all this. And I want to simply tell you who is responsible. But I'm bringing this up to tell you, it's very simple. Lawfare. I don't want you to talk to me, really. Your land, this is a quote, writes that our divisions are family of argument between if arms of progressive and libertarian naturalization and also conservation of the libertarians. That means the billionaires and everybody else is going to own your land because they can seize you. When these new laws like in the thing coming, they're going to have a use to have annexation to get you into it. But you're destroying the family. The family, when the person elected or not, cannot visit his family and be a role model. Nor, I understand the law that he can't even draw, his family can't draw no benefits.
Mr. Wynn, you have 1 minute left.
I'm glad. You get my point, though, don't you? I have this for them to put in on that I don't get covered. And these so-called felons that's lost their license of drunk driving, it's unconstitutional, but yet you put them under the same criteria. They can't get benefits or nothing for their family. Total destruction of the family, Roy. And y'all are in charge of it, and you the chief speaker, and you were responsible for this. You know better, and you know about it. Don't come up here you're not associated with it. Okay? You are guilty of destroying families nationally.
Mr. Wynn?
Yes, sir.
If you read the decorum, and if you read it in its details, you will see on there how to behave yourself at a county council meeting. At this time, your time is up. Thank you very much. Next.
We have Mr. Rob. I can't see what that last name is. Budget and FOIA.
Good evening, council.
Evening.
Good evening, Administrator Humans. Pleasant evening tonight. I have from me our budget for the airport. A question about contracted services for $45,000. I've been to the airport. You can't get in. It's posted with trespassing signs, which it should be. Aircraft owners want their possessions to be secure. I guess I'm questioning why we're spending $45,000 on a consultant. Anybody have an answer for that? Okay. Next year, I believe it is, the payment comes due for the FDA loan. That's $154,000 and change a year for 30 years. Stop me if I'm wrong. So we're paying back $4.6 million on a $2.5 million loan. Is this correct? Okay, I'm assuming it is. Not having access to the airport, and nothing against the aircraft owners, can't see where the airport will ever generate enough revenue to pay for the renovations. Again, if somebody can fill me in on this, how it will, I'd be happy to hear it. As it is, it resembles a private club. It's just the way it is. I would hope in the future there would be some change in this. We'll go from there. Next thing about our budget, I personally do not appreciate what I see as a less than friendly atmosphere between our county council and our sheriff's office. I can't help interpolitical politics entering into this. As the Tropical Storm Debbie has shown, this county is in danger and peril from just natural, whatever you want to call it, disasters. Our county roads being not in great shape. So I guess I'd ask if that $45,000 couldn't be redirected to either maintenance or our sheriff's department, because there's nothing that can be done there at the airport that won't cost the taxpayer more money. The other thing I'd like to say, and I appreciate this for you, Administrator Humans, to hear from this end of the room transparency. It's very important, especially when it comes to the amount of FOIA requests that have been turned into this county have not been answered. This does not foster trust in county government. The unfortunate thing, as Mr. Jenks has ascertained, there's no penalty in this act for not answering these, except for the fact that you do lose the trust of the people who elected you. And there is one other remedy, and that is lawsuit. Lawsuits in this respect are generally very, very successful. The expense would fall on the county. Therefore, it would seem to me as a cost-saving measure to answer these FOIA requests.
Yeah, 1 minute left. 1 minute left.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry?
You have 1 minute left.
1 minute left, okay. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave a minute for somebody else. I would like some answers out of this council, though, as far as these FOIA requests, especially since you've charged $25, is it? If I pay $25 for something and I don't get it, I consider that theft.
Comments from council? Thank you very much. Next on the public comment.
Quincy Jones, Airport Gate.
Evening, council. I'm gonna pass this out before you get started. I hand it to him. You can.
Thank you.
Well, not yet. Oh, restarted, okay. Oh, and one, I'd like, Attorney Algie to get one as well. Ready? Council, what you have in front of you is the first page there is a picture of the airport easement that I have on my property prior to the fence going up. I'm gonna go through this very fast and you guys can look at it at a later date because you're only giving me a few more minutes. The next page is in 2005, the county requested a piece of property that I have for the airport expansion. If you'll notice down, it's highlighted down at the bottom of that sheet, and I granted that request. Back in October 9th of 2020, I notified Rose Dobson Elliott, the county administrator at that time, that I had an easement and a gate access to the airport, and she refuses to hear any further ideas about it. And so they went ahead and installed the gate of 35 feet, which is the size of my easement, but it also impedes all aircraft traffic, which is against the contract and against the agreement. The next item on there is the ordinance that was passed by this council in 2011 as such for the easement use. The next is the agreement from June of 2011. If you'll notice at the very, one of the first items I got highlighted, it says, whereas the property owned by Company 2 is important to the future development of the runway of Hampton County Airport, and so forth, so forth. I think what that shows is that I've been trying to work with this county for decades now, and I've done so, and I've been fought at every corner, mainly by Rose Dobson Elliott, and I'm hoping that that's about to change. Second page of the 7, if you'll notice the highlighted section that after completion of the taxiway responsibility for the maintenance and upkeep, I have done all of that. I've been doing that since the easement was put in place. If you go to the next page, item 7, Company 2 understands and agrees that from time to time Hampton County has attempted to become eligible for federal funding for upgrades and improvements to the Hampton County Airport. Company 2 agrees that Hampton County has the right to renegotiate the easement or move it if they so choose at their own expense. I'm not asking for any of that. The next page, on page 4, item 10, Company 2 understands that Hampton County may in the future operate an aircraft fueling and service, hangar service or hangar service from its adjoining property. And if you'll notice the next line on there, that I am not allowed to compete in any of those services. The next sheet is the diagram of the property that I had actually donated or gave to the county that they requested for the airport expansion. Is 1.767 acres. The next one is the easement agreement. If you'll notice the highlighted section, partial consideration for the acquisition of the grantor property. Grantor agreed to grant the grantee an easement in gross of a commercial character for the purpose of vehicular and airplane taxi access. The vehicles are not in this issue here at all. That being said, if you'll also notice on page 2 of that agreement, item number 4, it says no impediments. And the impediment that you have put an impediment on the airport easement. I cannot get any aircraft traffic onto my property now. If you'll notice the last page that's stapled together, this is a letter from South Carolina Aeronautics. South Carolina Aeronautics said that a gate of 79 feet will handle any size aircraft that comes into the airport, and that's what I'm asking to do. I am basically asking for me to, out of my own pocket, to put a 79-foot gate up at the airport on my easement property at no expense to Hampton County. Any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer them.
What is the impediment?
I'm sorry?
What is the impediment?
What's an impediment?
What is it? You said,
The impediment is a 35-foot gate.
oh. I know
I have
what it is.
I have a 35-foot easement, and I'm not asking for an increase on the easement, not whatsoever. What I'm asking for is to allow aircraft traffic onto my property using that 35-foot easement. And with the gate that the county has put up there, I cannot get any aircraft through that gate at all. So that impedes my traffic use there. What my goal is to start advertising my property for aeronautical type businesses to come onto my property, which is going to enhance whatever the airport's doing now and in the future. Any other questions?
Thank you very much, Mr.
Yeah.
Jones, for the comments. Thank you very much. That's all the comments? Okay. Thank you. At this time, we're on item number 8, appointments, 8.1, appointment of Jonathan, I pronounce that, Tabakian, to the Hampton County Economic Development Commission. Council, you should have in your packet, the application and also a letter, that comes from the Hampton County Economic Development Commission, recommending him to be appointed to serve on the commission. You should have a copy of that, in your packet. I'll give you about a minute to kind of glance over it if you haven't already. Is there anyone from the Economic Development Commission who want to say anything at this time as we review the application? Again, this is a recommendation. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just here to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman. So everything in the packet is self-explanatory, but I've been participating in the meetings at the EDC where they nominated and recommend approval for Mr. Tabakian. So I think there's reasons to be excited. This will fill the only vacancy on the board right now.
So this is the last vacancy that needs to be?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Filled. Okay.
Yep.
So what's the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Mr. Tebeki to the Economic Development Commission.
Is there a second?
I second.
Has been properly second. Any further discussion? If not, all those who are in approval of this appointment to the Economic Development Commission, show it by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Thank you very much on the appointment. We're now on item number 9, approval of items requiring council's action. 9.1, addendum to employee recognition, resolution for participation in the state insurance benefits program regarding county, municipality, council member coverage. So, Mr. County Administrator.
This is, you guys voting on whether you want to participate in the benefits option that's provided to you or not, or you want to waive the option to participate. And keep in mind, paying benefits on the behalf of the county is pretty expensive. Just keep that in mind.
I don't know if council has received anything on this matter, but let me just read what this here entails. This is something that the South Carolina Retirement System and State Health Plan called HUBA have county council to participate in. And it says as the following. In making this election, the council hereby understands, acknowledges, and agrees that, 1, the election made above is the material requirement for participation in the program established by the people board of directors and during the employer's period of participation in the program. Number 2, the election made above applies only to council members' participation in the program and does not affect council members' participation in the South Carolina retirement systems. 3, if the council has elected to decline coverage, council members will not be considered employees of the employer, as that term is defined in the state health plan for purposes of eligibility and participation in the program, and will not be eligible for any benefit offered under the program as an active employee by virtue of membership on the council. service on the council will not be taken into consideration with eligibility for retiree insurance coverage under the program. And the council and employer waive and disclaim any rights the employer or its council members may have regarding council members' benefits from the program as a result of their service on the council after the date of this election. And lastly, number 4, the election made above will not be effective until it is received in good order and approved by people, and nothing in this election alters any other obligations an employer has to properly and timely administer insurance benefits under the program for other employees of the employer in accordance with the requirements established by people. And so basically what they're asking of us, council members, is that if we as a majority want to participate in this state insurance benefit program, and we will have to vote on this either members of the council will not be considered active employees of the employee for the purpose of participation in the state insurance benefit program, or members of council will be considered active employees of the employer for the purpose of participation in the state insurance benefit program. And again, it's only available if council members are paid and are eligible for participation in the South Carolina retirement system. So with that being said, I would like for a motion to be made for members of council will not be considered active employees of the employer for the purpose of participation in the state insurance benefit program.
I'll make that motion. I do not think that we should be considered active employees. I think that it is a good faith measure towards the people with which we are charged.
Second.
A motion has been made and been properly second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those who are in approval that members of council will not be considered active employees of the employer for the purpose of participation in the state insurance benefits program, show it by your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? Thank you very much. We're now on item 10 on the agenda, resolutions and proclamations. We have none as of this evening. Item number 11, ordinances. 11.1, third reading of ordinances, none at this time. 11.2, second reading of ordinances, none at this time. Number 11.3, first reading of ordinances, 11.3.1, first reading of an ordinance by title only for the sale of land in the Hampton County Regional Industrial Park for the sale of approximately 50 acres for a project truck. So is there anyone from, I guess, Southern Carolina Alliance, Economic Development, or speak on this?
Mr. Chairman, members of council, John Fleming, Southern Carolina Alliance, and this is a title-only reading due to the project trying to move very quickly, which we are happy about. We don't always have a project that's moving quickly, so thank you for the clerk for getting this on the agenda and moving this forward. We can talk about in the executive session of what Project Truck is. And at this point, we ask for your approval of first reading by title only.
Any questions? Or they want to ask on Mr. Fleming at this time? With that being said, what is the pleasure of council?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the first reading of Project Truck by title only.
Second.
A motion has been made and has been properly second. Any further discussion among council members? If not, all those who are in approval of the first reading of an ordinance by title only for the sale of land in the Hampton County Regional Industrial Park for the sale of approximately 50 acres for Project Truck, show your approval by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? senior citizen, senior center open house event. I don't know if the council is aware, but there are two open houses event that we're having for our senior centers. One in Hampton, and the other is in Esther. And I have some dates for you in case you may want to attend. The Hampton Center Open House event is scheduled for Tuesday, August 20th at 10:30 a.m. And the Esther Center Open House event is scheduled for Tuesday, August 27th at 10:30 a.m. So we have an August 20th date, which is tomorrow, at the Hampton Senior Citizen Open House. And then we have one for August 27th, which is the following Tuesday, at 10:30 a.m. at the Esther Center Senior Citizen as an open house event. So I'd like to bring that to council attention. With that being said, that's all that I have as a council briefing, chairman update. We're now on item 12.2, county council members liaison report or update. So I'll start with, on my right, newly elected Councilwoman Ms. Knox.
Okay.
Do you have any,
Yeah, just, I have a kind of a question real quick. I sent out an email to you, Chairman, earlier this week and CC'd the clerk on it asking for a list of current contracts we're under so that I would have a more full understanding of the county finances. And it was advised that I ask for that at today's meeting. First of all, let me ask, if I could, why I'm asking for it in the meeting.
anytime a council person requests information, it is at the majority of council if there may be some council members that feel otherwise. So you have to have the majority of council to make sure that a request goes through. Now, we believe in transparency. And anytime a council member is requesting information, it should be open to the public so that they can hear that request. So I'll forward your request
Okay.
to the county administrator. And so Mr. Eunice will what your request is.
So let me clarify really quick. If I need information and I'm outvoted, or if I request information and I am outvoted by the rest of council, then I will not receive that information? That's interesting. That's, and is there an ordinance or some sort of something, county policy that I could refer to?
You have to look it up and find out what kind of policy is on.
Okay.
But that is something that we have.
That's certainly interesting. Thank you.
I did look at your email, Ms. Knox, and
I saw that you were.
the information that you asking, I actually shared that with previous council members.
Okay.
With Noah and Ms. Camille, so I'm happy to share all contractual information. Keep in mind, all contractual invoices that we pay are
Confident.
well,
Yeah.
everyone we pay in this county is now posted on the website.
Okay.
Every bill we pay, every contractor we pay, we're going back to 2023 until now, and we started that about 2 months ago. So you can also find that information on it. But
I think right now it's only through March. I was curious to see if we'd entered into any new contracts this year, of course, as well.
I do have a few contracts that support me in some of the stuff we're getting done here in the county, but
And are we offering bids out to those, or?
it doesn't go when it's not beyond a certain numper. I do not have to bid. I'm
You
just-
mean for the
For the
county
service.
purchasing policy?
Yes.
Okay.
And currently, the contractors that supported me have not surpassed $15,000 in terms of what we paid them.
Interesting. Thank you.
And also I'm going to add, Councilwoman Knox, even
That certainly, yeah, I was aware of that, certainly.
So anything that requires, a councilman has request, all you have to do is make sure that you can get two other councilmen to review it, and then it should be no problem in getting that information.
Okay.
So I'll have that information to you by tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Contractual information, and like I said, all the invoices, I'll make sure they've been updated. They should be, but if not, I'll make sure that's updated as well.
Okay. Including anything new, then, yeah,
Anything new. Yep,
sounds good.
absolutely.
Any other update?
No, sir, no.
Councilman Williams,
I have none.
Councilman James.
I want to add to, as far as the contractual services that we're paying for now, correct me if I'm wrong, and then, most of the contractual services that we are paying for now is being paid for through payroll from employees that we don't have in place, correct? Not strictly from the general funds.
That's correct. We have a lot of open positions in the county. You know, we have a grants position that was open for a while, IT position that was open for a while, and of course, the CFO. So those funds have been sourced to bring in help where needed. We need a lot of help in the county. We've been advertising and seeking help in a lot of ways. So we do have 2 or 3 folks helping us on some various things to get done and move forward the county and be efficient.
So it's fair for me to ask you that it's not creating a terrible strain on our finances.
No, sir. Right now, we're trending a lot better than 23. In 23, you spent around $380,000 in contractual service alone, and we're nowhere close to that in terms of the things that we're doing around contractual services.
So our contractual services were before you or what?
There were contractual services before I came in, yeah. And some of the contractual service we've continued. One of the firms associated with the accounting process that's been helping us make sure we stay on track and get ready for the audit in December. They have remained in the background. You know, once our CFO exited, I had to find some services to kind of help us get ready through the budget process. But critical items to address for the county and making sure we're moving forward.
So this is the same auditing firm that we're using now that was here before?
Yeah.
So we had an auditing firm preparing us for our audit when we had a CFO. Now we don't, you're using the same firm?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
If there are any other reports or updates from county council members, we're now at item 12.3, county attorney's update.
Mr. Chairman, members of council, I have nothing other than that email message I sent out earlier.
We're now at item 12.4, clerk's update. I see cleaning of the office.
I just wanted to give a brief update that I am organizing the office. If you come in, you can actually see that a lot of work has been done. I'm actually labeling all of the binders that I've gone through to find ordinances and resolutions that weren't marked, but I am getting there. So just bear with me.
Thank you. We're now on item number 13, administrator's report. We're going to start off with 13.1 that was changed to emergency management debris from Tropical Storm Debby.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Susan.
Last week, I received an email from the county administrator and itemizing for me to go use this template on everything that I did during the disaster. And I thought, wow, it's up here. Now I got to put it on paper. So I put it on paper, and over this past week, I have learned things that need to be addressed by going back and looking at it. So I appreciate that. A lot of questions asked that I didn't think he knew to ask, but he outsmarted me. So I'm going to speak a little bit on some of the things that the county administrator asked me to present to you tonight. And it's called Emergency Management 3606 Tropical Storm Debbie. Hampton County is a blessed county. If you look around us, it's real serious as to what's going on around us with the flooding. This morning on our conference call, Horry County was still doing search and rescue to residences that had citizens that did not leave their residence, and the rivers are still rising. So that has caused a tremendous problem. Last week, we received a phone call from a lady on Red Bluff Road in the Yemassee area, and she sent pictures of her home, and the water, even though her house was way up, the water had come in through the floor. So these are things that we're still dealing with here, and that was one of the worst the homes that was hit in Hampton County. The areas affected by the storm was Yemassee, Early Branch, Estill, and a few in Hampton, because what the storm did, it came up the coast and came over this way. I hope the citizens know that in the Yemassee and Early Branch area, it can flood in a quick moment. The floodplain has moved up on the Yemassee area, so we want to make sure that our citizens there are safe. I can assure you that I worked very closely with Matt Garnes down in the Yemassee area to make sure that all those citizens were safe. They did a great job down there, and in the Early Branch area as well. Estill had a lot of flooding over that way, especially down on Stokes Bluff, down that way on Goethe Trail, and but those citizens remained okay. Hampton, we had a lot of flooding here, but nothing that didn't go away in a hurry. And I believe the reason that this storm kept us safe was in the drought condition we were in. If we had not have been in that drought condition, we would have been like we were in 2015 and 2019. We would have really encountered lots of problems. We had lots of flooded roads, especially the dirt roads. We had reported of 18 homes with minor damage, 1 home with major damage, and 1 church with major damage. And I was just shocked that I did not hear about this church, but it was the Estill Presbyterian Church, that the water over there in Estill came up into the floor of that church, ruined a few books and things in the church, and their cost for repairing that church was $8,000. And they've already had people come in and help them with it. And that is an uninsured church. It was not insured. So with the individual assistance, I will refer to that in just a few minutes. There were no injuries and no rescues that had to be done in Hampton County. There were 18 power outages with 344 homes being without power for several hours. I can assure you that Palmetto Electric did everything they could to restore this power, and the cost on that power being restored was $39,941.50 to Palmetto Electric Co-op. All this comes together in the end to meet our threshold for the county. We had 25 roads that had to be repaired, and the Public Works is still working on them. We had no bridges that were damaged, but the inspectors were out with SCDOT. They were inspecting all these bridges. Salkehatchie on Anna Laurel Road out by Mount Olive Church is still closed. Davison Tower Road, and as most of you know, our evacuation route that runs from here, that comes out of Beaufort, Yemassee, Jasper County, our evacuation route, from Jasper County here on 278 is out. And I went to Bluffton Saturday night, and I can tell you that if we have to go that detour to the on the evacuation route to come into Hampton County, it was a madhouse. It was like being on 95 in these little country roads called Possum Corner. It was very, very busy, very busy. So my concern there is that we get this road fixed as soon as possible. So we will be talking to our state representatives to help us, push this along so we can get this done. Even though it's in Jasper County, it's us. It's us also. Yes. Rescue operations, we had no rescue operations. Hampton County Fire Department and the town of Hampton, town of Brunson, town of Barnville all responded on August the 7th to the Barnville Elementary School where it had caught a fire. As of the current time, as of now, they're not sure exactly what caused the fire. We did do research on it. There were 8 lightning strikes in the area from 6 p.m. on Tuesday night to 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. And it looks like maybe the flooding in the roof, they had a lot of water damage in the roof, and it might have went down in an electrical socket and caused an electrical fire, but this is yet to be determined. There's still investigation on with that. And I do have to say, very much appreciated to the person that saw this fire, because it could have really been worse. And hats off to Principal Peggy O'Banner and her staff. They did a wonderful job getting those students and making sure they had the right mentality to step back into school on Monday morning. And I'm sure that it tore these teachers apart, as well as parents having to move them. Emergency services provided, DSS and emergency management. We had a shelter on standby at Hampton Elementary. It was never activated. We're very careful about trying to put shelters, open them, or put them on standby for staffing. Thanks to DSS Director Bridget Gray Peoples, she had 28 staff on standby that were ready to open this shelter. Red Cross does not have the staffing and volunteers like they used to, so we will open the shelter in the beginning. So there were no food distributions and no medical services were rendered during this disaster, and that was a blessing, because last year in Idalia, we responded to several things. Current operations, fortunately, there was no debris to be removed, and as Mr. Roy has been through several disasters with us through emergency management, this is a big project for council and the administrator. In the event, we have to activate that debris management plan. It can really go up into a lot of money, but this is something that would have to be done if we were back in a situation like Hurricane Matthew or the tornadoes. So this is something to think about in the future. Work continues for roads to be repaired from the flood, and all county dirt roads are open at this time, even though they're still doing some repairs. Agency coordination, Hampton County Emergency Management, and all the emergency support functions work closely together. We work through Palmetto EOC, which is with the state of South Carolina, and recently, during Tropical Storm Debbie, the state has now opened a mobile app for damage assessment. So a homeowner can now go to that application and enter the damage at their home, submit pictures, and then when it's time for the damage assessment team to go out, they can go out and do this. Or they can call me at the number that we have listed in the EOC for anybody to call, and that's where most of the calls have come in. We are limited staffing in the assessor's office to go out and do damage assessment, but Amanda has done a good job of going out and getting this done. The Cat B cost was also granted under the state of emergency, so we will be able to claim all Cat B costs, which is your labor, overtime cost, things like this. We'll be able to do that. As of today, the state has not reached their goal, their threshold. The threshold for the state is $9,417,902. Hampton County's threshold is $85,380.60. As of Friday, we had $102,790.55 to meet our threshold. This includes the utilities. This is how we meet that threshold. The municipalities have to have $3,900 in Cat B cost, which is overtime expenses, things like this, food of any kind, anything they had to get for emergency. They have to have that threshold to break out from us to be a to be their own entity to get their reimbursement back. And I did hear from the town of Estill today, and they're still working on those. But other than that, the other municipalities did not respond. They did not have that kind of cost during this disaster. Long-term recovery, we hope that there's no long-term recovery out of this storm as it has been in the past, so that is one good thing. But the local funding, the county funds will be reimbursed through the Cat B cost. State and federal assistance will be ongoing until we get this federal declaration. The state has to meet that $9 million threshold before we can get the federal declaration. Even though we have a state of emergency, we do have the Cat B cost. The federal government will help us with the Cat B cost. But to get individual assistance and other assistance, we have to meet that state threshold. And if you have questions about that, feel free to call me. And you can also go on the SCEMD website and gather this information as well. Mental health support, we are very pleased with the new mental health staff that we have working. They are part of our emergency support function staff that we have not had in years. So I'm pleased with that, Mr. Roy. They did not have to come in, but they are ready to assist in anything we need. In the private sector contributions, we don't have anything to report there. Operational challenges. The challenges are we need rock and pipe on hand. If this had been a hurricane and we did not have the rock and the pipe on hand, we would be in trouble, because we cannot wait 2 months down the road to fix that road that is washed out, to repair the pipe or whatever we have to do. So we want to make sure that we have this on hand at any time. There needs to be extra. And I know it's expensive for rock. I know it's expensive for pipe, but Public Works needs this on hand at all times. Resource limitations, we do not have a tax assessor at this time. So we have one person that's doing the damage assessment, and in the event the storm's more serious, I would have to request from the state damage assessment team to come down. However, I hope to have more people trained in the municipalities in damage assessment that they can go out and help. I can tell you right now, hats off to the police departments, the municipalities, to the sheriff's office. They went above and beyond. They helped Public Works do the damage assessment on the roads. I mean, we've got 560 miles of dirt road in Hampton County, and Public Works is busy repairing roads, so we had to have help to go out and look at these roads and get the word back on what is damaged. So that was a great asset that we had. Currently, emergency management handles the paperwork for reimbursement for all documents. We do not have a finance director, and one is greatly needed. So we hope that will happen real soon, so that somebody can have hands on this paperwork, besides me. But I will send it, everything will go through the county administrator and those to look at this paperwork before it's ever sent. And also the state and FEMA monitor this paperwork at all times. And believe me, they don't give you any more. If it's not right, they'll kick it out, and we have to start over again. So, community engagement, information has been provided to the citizens through Facebook and through the local radio stations. And be aware, we have one radio station in Hampton County, Allendale County, and that is WDOG. I do my best to get things out on Facebook, and I do my best on the emergency management page for everybody to please go there, and I try to send out emails. I have alert groups that I send emails out to, so I really do try to do my best. We all try to do our best to get information out to the citizens, especially those folks that are older that do not have the local radio station here anymore to listen to. WTOC was great. They put the closings and everything out. Our website folks that LeVar has did a wonderful job helping with things like that too. So that's been great. There was a hotline set up at the EOC, and it was publicized for citizens to call into Any questions they have, we answer them. We do our best to answer them. So that was good. Immediate actions, we have gathered information for our preliminary cost and will be meeting to put all documents together over the next few weeks. And short-term recovery, documentation is the key to reimbursement. Document, document, document. If we don't have the documentation, it doesn't mean anything. Long-term actions, due to this storm, we did not have a large recovery, which was very good. Our recovery plan is in place and ready to respond to any disaster. Hampton County Emergency Management, along with all agencies that helped, the people that brought food in to us to eat, was greatly appreciated. We could not ask for any better. We're here to serve the citizens of this county and to serve council and the administrator and any staff, anyone else we need to. Questions?
Could you tell me the name of that app that you were talking about to report damage? And
Yes,
then
you can go to www.scemd.org.
And would it be possible, could you maybe put that up, you're so good at social media, because I follow you pretty
I
religiously.
put one out
Yeah.
today, but I'll put it out again.
Yeah.
I sure will.
Okay,
I sure
thank you.
will. Yes, ma'am. Because that's how I get the information out. Yes, sir.
Pocatello Road in the Barkerville area is still out also.
Is it still out?
Still out.
Okay, I didn't get that from DOT today. Okay.
Can you check with, I don't know if it be FEMA or the state, when you say we need to keep rock and pipe on hand,
Uh-huh.
check with them and see if we can stockpile riprap. With me, I do.
I know what you're talking about. We did have that during the flood. The prior Public Works Director had to get that for that storm. And yes, that is a reimbursement.
Well, see, our landfill, we should be able to take riprap, and they can stockpile that riprap, and it accumulates fast. That's what I do.
I will check with them and find out. I will check with them and find out, because I don't want to do anything we're not supposed to, but I will check into that. Yes, sir.
Save a lot of money on rock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anything else?
I have one question, Mrs. Ann. Reimbursement from FEMA, how long does that take to get a reimbursement back?
Well, I had a great FEMA person working with me from Idalia that happened last August. And our reimbursement is scheduled to be sent down in the next month or so. So he was very good. He didn't start that reimbursement until February. We got all the documents together and everything was done online. And I mean, and he was online, and Ms. Walker from State EMD was online, so that's good. Normally, with the tornado, it took us almost 2 years to get reimbursement. But it's because it just takes so long, so much documentation. And from the time you activate that debris management plan, and Public Works does what they have to, we only have 6 months to get that work done and get the checks cut and that reimbursed, so we can get that reimbursement back. But you're looking at a maximum of 2 years. Yes. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding that, but it might be better suited towards LeVar. Are we going to use financial recovery plan funds to tide us over until we get any possible reimbursement on that money? I know we haven't met the state.
If there's a need, but we would bring before council,
Okay.
before usage, if Ms. Suzanne identifies a need.
Fair enough.
Yes, yes. Yes, the county comes up with the money and you know, but as far as the debris management, the debris contract goes, I'd reach out to LeVar and he would probably call a special county council meeting, because we would need to set a cap on that debris and a time frame. If we don't, you know, the bill can really run up there a lot. During the tornado, it was $426,000 for the debris to be removed. And that was just for the debris. DOT had a contract in place that was signed, and they moved the debris, and it went all to the landfill, and then the landfill folks had to sort it. We don't want that to happen again. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Yes, yes. There was some funds involved with that, getting a reimbursement of some kind from DOT. But when the bottom line hit, it was best that we do it through our debris contract because things were sorted the right way. Thank you all that came by for your support. Thank you very much. It was greatly appreciated.
Suzanne,
Thank you.
for that update. Really appreciate it.
Council? Thank you, Ms. Suzanne. Appreciate you. First topic up this evening, and folks may not be able to see it. I'm sorry for I try to make it as big as possible, but I'll talk you through it. We made some changes to the org chart, and each of you guys have the org chart in front of you. And some of the changes that we made in terms of moving elected officials to report directly to the county administrator instead of through some of the department heads. Move detention center up under public safety, and also moved multiple departments under director of economic development. We also budgeted and planned to hire a public information officer. Why? One of the big things we're working on is communicating with the public and also working on repairing the image of the county. So we are engaging with outlets and industry to talk about what's going on in the county in a positive way. We changed the garage to fleet management. Later in this presentation, I'll present to you the contract that we hope to get signed by you guys today, by Enterprise. But a big piece of that is addressing the behavior of how cars are maintained in the county, setting clear guidelines and structure when cars should be taken home and maintained properly. So that's empowering. Previously, the guys that's in the garage, we're going to move into a fleet management team so we can do that. So today is to present it to you. I'll have some policies that's going to support and govern that unit on the day-to-day. In addition to one person currently serving in several roles, if you take a peek at the dotted line, we moved all department. We previously had several deputy county administrators, so we made some changes. We only have one deputy county administrator in the county. That's Chris Iglesias. He's done a great job in supporting us and getting things done. So Chris is going to be primarily responsible for economic development, the airport, capital projects, building and planning, and we threw in municipal services so we can better engage and work with our municipal services on issues that they need. The one big caveat of adding Chris is that he started his PMP, project management certification that he's working on. He just started last week in Columbia. And what that does is that sets us up, if you ever choose to apply for a CPTS fund again, you have an expert that's going to manage your capital projects at a very high level and address that issue. So we're putting in the infrastructure to think forward and drive. So Chris is going to focus on industry, working with SCA and other folks to really address the issue of lack of growth around our economy. I'll stop there to see if you have any questions about the org chart. And one other note, the items in green, similar to my position, I'm supervising in those roles until we hire someone to take on those roles. So I'm currently serving in the capacity of Director of Administrative Services, Director of Finance, and Director of Community Services. Any questions?
I have a question. The public information officer, you said you had engaged with someone. Could you go into that a bit more?
Yes, ma'am. We took our time to find the right team to engage the public. We've identified a firm outside of Charleston to help us set it up the right way. And the goal is that we work with them for the next few weeks, set up the process, set up everything that done the right way, and then we look to hire a part-time person, hopefully locally, that can serve as our public information officer. So you'll see that we've activated the county Facebook.
I did see that, yes.
So we had some trouble getting access to that because we didn't know the password and we didn't know what computer the account was started from. So we had to wait on Facebook to reactivate the account. We got it reactivated, and so you'll see information start to being poured to the Facebook page, in addition to updates, what's going on in the county, and you'll see a lot of things that's associated with this session being pushed to the Facebook page and the county website.
Okay.
The goal is to keep the folks updated as much as possible. If your parents are like me, they watch a lot of Facebook. So the next piece we have, if there's no more questions, is the CPTS audit. A lot has happened over the last session. We got the audit findings in July. I reached out to, well, first I sent the audit findings to you guys the same day. Then I reached out to local media to see if they would sit down and talk about the findings. We couldn't get our schedules together, so I went on and posted on the Facebook. It posted on the website. If you look at the website, it says news update. We put it there, and we put it as a news update. And actually, if folks in the crowd, if you take your phone and put your camera over the QR code, it'll go straight to the audit and kind of give you some information. So some of the findings of that audit was misuse of funds, accounting errors, lack of documentation, violation of project prioritization, and failure report. One of the key reasons of putting Chris in the position to be able to address some of these issues long term. Some of the recommendations, I won't read them all, but timely and accurate withdrawal of funds for approved projects online and immediately strict record-keeping policies. All things that we're working on instituting in the county. A lot of those things are associated with the audit findings that we've seen over the past few audits, our record-keeping and documentation. One piece that I want to call your attention to is that of next steps. What's next now that the CPT audits have been completed? And I just want to take a moment and read this. You got to keep in mind, we identified a legal service provider and financial advisors to help us through the TAM process. Those are the same folks that's going to help us negotiate and talk to Department of Revenue to pay this money back. So once we've identified some options, we will present to council for consideration and review and go forward. Yes, ma'am.
I didn't ask a question.
Sorry. So legal and financial strategy. As part of the resolution, the legal team is diligently gathering additional records that may help reduce the outstanding amounts owed. This includes identifying and documenting capital purchases that could potentially be credited against the outstanding balance. We got a lot of boxes all over the place. We've been trying to figure out if we can put our hands on some more receipts to address that amount owed, but we think that we may be able to find some additional information. The repayment plan. The first priority is to establish a clear and agreed upon repayment figure in collaboration with the Department of Revenue. The ongoing forensic audit is a critical component in the process as we may uncover documentation that justifies lowering the amount due. So we are also we have kicked off the forensic audit, and that's been moving pretty fast since the last council session, but I'll give you an update in a moment. Next steps, documentation review, forensic audit collaboration, engagement of the Department of Revenue. Those are some of the things that we are doing in response to the CPTS audit findings, but most importantly, working with legal and financial advisors to address the issue of how we pay back. And once we got some viable options to pay back those funds, we will present those to you. In a nutshell, once the amount is identified, we pay back the fund. We don't pay back the state, we pay back our account. The state will provide oversight and payment to that, but we will be responsible to pay that back in a timely manner. I'll stop, see if you have any questions.
Any questions thus far for County Administrator?
The forensic audit. A lot has happened with the forensic audit since we last met. I think the last time I talked to you guys, I told you that the state auditor had reached out on the behalf of Senator Albright. So the initial process was to have a dialogue and understand the scope and what's going on in the county. So we gathered all the information that we had, RFP, information from Ms. Linda Kelly, concerns of the citizens, provided all that stuff to the state auditor so they can understand the full picture of what's been asked here for years to get done and understand the seriousness of getting it done. As you can see here in blue, this is a quote from the state auditor. Hampton County must provide resources to respond to Edie Bailey's information requests and other needs. So that means we do have a role in supporting the forensic audit. That is research, identifying the information, and turning over all the information as it comes in. And that's one of the reasons why we scaled up our contractual services to support getting this forensic audit done, because we know we may need additional support, hands to research and provide all the information that the auditor may need. Key things to understand: the website, county website, will be updated as it relates to the progress of the forensic audit, and Facebook with ongoing updates. I had a timeline that speaks to the back and forth. I don't know if you guys want me to read it in detail for the sake of time, but the initial engagement with the state audit was in June of 2028. The request for the information came over about July 17th. The confirmation of Edie Bailey came over about August 1st. So the state chose Edie Bailey. We did not. They asked for the information associated who responded to the RFP. They reviewed the RFP, and they selected the most qualified respondent based on their expertise. The forensic audit scope. If you take a look at the scope, you look at the scope that was in our RFP, and you look at the scope that the state auditor did, it's slightly different. It's a lot more technical in a sense, but it's a little bit different in the scope that we drafted out. The initial engagement, Edie Bailey sent over their first round of requests of information last week. So what we've done, we've started sending them information. We've also sourced every box in the county associated with this audit, and we've put them in one room in this building, lock and key, and we will have a camera, and that's going to be observing the scanning process of that. So it's going to be recorded full time. The storage is going to be locked full time to make sure we can protect this information as much as possible. I also provided to you the scope from Edie Bailey, and you know they have a couple timeline obligations of planning, the audit plan, discovery of implementation gathering, the analysis, the reporting, and we're looking at February of 2025 of a closeout date. Now keep in mind, it's critical that the county turns all the information over as soon as possible, because any delay in time, that cost comes to the county. The rate of this audit was negotiated between Edie Bailey and the state, not us. I don't know how much they're charging. No funds come to the county. It's the state and Edie Bailey communicating that stuff. I'll stop there to see if you guys have any questions.
Any questions for the county administrator at this time?
just to be clear, you have to have proper personnel to furnish information requested by Edie Bailey in a timely manner.
Correct.
Do you have any idea of how many people that may require?
Right now, I have one person, two people, well, one person for the county that works in my finance department. I have two contractors that's helping me, but we do need some additional hands that we're going to be looking to help us scan information. There's going to be a lot of information going through boxes, scanning, so we're looking for resources to ensure we meet timelines and deliverables to turn this information around.
Would it be possible perhaps to reallocate people from other departments temporarily to cover that?
That's a great question. Did you ask that, Ms. Suzanne? I think it was a suggestion that came up, and we sent out an email last week to see if we had any volunteers in the county that want to help us scan any boxes, and nobody wants to help us scan any paperwork. Well, Chris, yeah.
I mean, that's just exciting work there.
Yeah, it's tedious,
But it is necessary.
but it's necessary. You know, we sent out an email to see if there's any interest in the county employees, if they have any extra hands. We will welcome them in scanning, but yes, we did do that, so. We'll take Bob too. I'll stop there. Is there any more information around the forensic audit? So it looks like a delivery date of February. I did ask the state auditor, who's done tons of forensic audit, and I said, how much is too much to share, or what should I share to the public from a media standpoint? And his advice was to share the start date and the end date in the report. But we aim to share as much as possible and keep the public informed as much as possible, and be transparent as possible. So the next piece up is the enterprise vehicle proposal. I have a copy of the contract that I'm going to be looking for you guys to sign tonight so we can execute and deliver the sheriff's his cars. 10 cars coming out the gates. And if you can see on the dock here that the first round of cars, I can't even see that number myself. But yes, we're working to deliver the sheriff's cars. The total payment of the first 10 cars is just over $11,000, and another upfront cost is about $45,000 coming out the gates. So tonight, I'll ask you guys to sign this contract so I can send it back to Enterprise so we can execute on delivering those vehicles. We were waiting on some information associated with one or two other banks showing somewhat of an interest to work with us. And, you know, sheriffs need the cars, so we want to go ahead and get it done. Yes, ma'am.
And I agree that we absolutely need these cars. Where are we pulling this money from?
So we budgeted for it. We budgeted for it. We created a debt millage to absorb the cost of these cars. We also centralized all money associated with repairs so our fleet management team can streamline the maintenance of these cars. We get new cars, but we have to change the behavior of how we maintain cars, you know. So it's up to our fleet management team to put a schedule together to maintain their car. My wife has been advocating on me to buy a new car for quite a while, but if you take care of a car, it'll take care of you. So we have to have somebody in the county solely responsible for maintaining those cars. So that's why we're instituting a fleet management plan and policies to support that they are the only ones to make decisions on how those cars are to be maintained in the county.
What department would that be?
So currently, that department is called the Garage. That's the title of it. I inherited, but we've changed it to fleet management. And there's only 2 individuals in that department right now, Mr. Wooten and Mr. Charles. But we're going to add one other part-time from a person from an administrative standpoint to kind of help with the paperwork, get them up to speed, and But yeah, so we've sourced every dollar associated with cars and vehicles and equipment into their budget so it can be centralized in maintaining cars and vehicle equipment in the county.
So that's every county, that's every vehicle that the county owns,
Every machinery in the county,
every machinery.
every piece. Trailers, diesels, all of it. We
Has
need,
to go through the maintenance.
that's right. Can't be all over the place. One priority. If we've hired mechanics other places in the county, I'll ask you to come by and see me. We only have 2 official mechanics in the county. Business and process improvements, what are we working on? We're currently in a freeze. You guys know we've been borrowing a TAN for the past 7 years. We're freezing for 60 days. I have an excess of about 1,100 unpaid invoices I need to work through, organize, and get paid in addition to managing. So we're going to give ourselves a little room to catch up on some invoices, pay some bills, and maybe take some things off the books once that TAN comes in to be more efficient in how we pay our bills. From an information technology standpoint, we instituted a mandatory password reset. That's industry standard right now to address a lot of IT fraud in the country. And we've also disabled Microsoft Internet Explorer browser. Communication, like I said before, we've reopened the Facebook page. We were able to get that access. And also, we have a team that's building up to a public relations officer position that's going to really help us, address the image of the county and some long-term things. And the last piece, other notifications that you need to be aware of. Like I said before, we found out that the website is up for an upgrade. We paid for it about 5 years ago. It's just been out there. The company has been waiting on us to engage them. So we're kicking off the website revitalization project this week. And so what that does is make the website more user-friendly. So information that we post will be a little bit more accessible to the public instead of having to dig through and really look at it. And I know it was kind of hard to see that CPTS finding with that news flash because it's real small, but this process will make it a lot more customer-friendly, transparent, and even the FOIA process will be a lot more fluid and transparent. So we're going to have a FOIA tracker that's going to sit where folks can see when their FOIA request comes in, when it's processed, and when it's processed out. And that'll speak to the question that the gentleman had earlier today. That's another piece that we're working on addressing. The tax anticipated note, the TAN, we're looking for that to be delivered sometime in September. The RFP is going to go out next week, and getting that executed. We have already engaged Malden and Jenkins again to start the audit. We reached out to them last week, so we're driving towards getting the general audit done in December. So they sent over the engagement contract today. I'm reviewing it, and once we get that back, we're gonna start with that audit as well. So we have general audit, the forensic audit, and looking at how we address the CPTS findings. A lot going on in finance, but we're getting it done. We will delete the group of emails from the county council. There was a county council email that wasn't accessed since 2021. It's going to be deactivated. Just want to make you aware of that. And also, we're creating a shared mailbox for the clerk of council. In addition to one other piece, we are creating an intranet, and that intranet is going to be the internal-facing platform for county employees. So paperwork, updates, news, everything that a county employee needs to know internally about the county will support that intranet. It's the first step into an ERS system, enterprise system, but we got limited funds, but we have some technology to build it from an IT standpoint. We're working on building that to make sure we're a little bit more efficient in sharing information internally. That's all I have for right now. But if you have any questions?
I do. Can you elaborate a little bit more on the 60-day freeze so everybody's understanding who and what you're freezing? Because in the past, we've been told it's been a freeze, so we didn't spend. Make me understand that.
We are a 60-day freeze. We centralized a lot of things in the county to supplies, office supplies. That was one of the budget things. We put it in one account. We sent out a request for orders. I placed those orders. Some of those boxes being delivered. In some senses, I had to go to Staples and pick up a printer to save money. But supplies will be made available to employees. They won't have to worry about paper or anything. Every 3 months, we're going to send an email and we're going to say what you need. They're going to respond back and we're going to make sure they have that. Anything that was budgeted for in terms of a hire, they can hire. Meaning, if you budgeted for it in your budget, you make that happen based on when you can hire someone in your department. If there's an emergency needed in fire and EMS, of course, we will take care of those issues as they come. But in a general sense, we want to limit the spending in the county for a little bit to see if we can catch our breath and pushing beyond the 60 days.
Thank you.
But the rhetoric of folks going to Staples to buy paper with their own money, we can't have that in the county. Supplies will be provided to county employees, and if there's otherwise heard, please let me know. That's all I have for you this evening.
So, Mr. Yumas, you want us to vote tonight on this, fleet management overhand, lease proposal that you have presented to us. You want to vote on it tonight, right?
Yes, I would like for you to sign it. I have the one I need you to sign, and sign it and make sure that's properly documented and recorded for future record.
I think we already voted on it. I think we just got to sign it, correct?
Yeah.
We already voted.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask all of you guys to sign it.
I thought we did, but I want to be sure. Every time I do my signature, I want to make sure whether or not it's something that we voted on before I sign it. Yes, I'm going to get already voted on something like this. Any more questions for our county administrator? Thank you, Mr. Newman.
And I want to make sure, Ms. Knox, I'll make sure you get all that information about contractual services.
Okay.
I'll have it over to you by tomorrow at some point.
Okay, I have a couple of other things that I wanted to send over as well, so I'll email you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Now, on item number 14, executive session. We have, item number 14, discussion of negotiations incident to propose contractual arrangements and proposed sale or purchase of property. And this, involves animal shelter, recreation complex, project truck, and also expanding loop. So at this time, what is the pleasure of council?
So move.
In a second.
Motion made and properly second by Councilwoman Knox. Any further discussion? If not, all those who are approved that we go into executive session, show it by raising your right hand. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain? We're now going to executive session. We have a 5